برنامه نان گل سرخ رو نگاه میکنید، مجله اجتماعی سیاسی که به زبانهای انگلیسی و فارسی روی کانال جدید پخش میشه. سلام به همگی، من مریم نمازی ام. امیدوارم حالتون خوب باشه و مشتاق برنامه این هفته باشید. در این هفته برنامه مصاحبه دارم با ثریا شمالی در رابطه با تبعیض علیه زنان در مطبوعات اجتماعی من جمله فیسبوک و توییتر. در ضمن در رابطه با یک گزارش جدیدی در مورد نابرابری بین مرد و زن صحبت خواهم کرد. به نظرتون کدوم کشورها در انتهای لیست این نابرابری هستن؟ فکر نکنم شوکه بشین. در ضمن در رابطه با جایزه بخشیدن چتم هاوس به مقامات جمهوری اسلامی در حالی که بهتر بود محکوم میکردن این رژیمو صحبت خواهم کرد. ادامه بحران پناهندگان کودک در کله و اینکه تعدادی از پناهندگانی که از سوریه اومدن به آلمان ابراز نگرانی کردند در رابطه با نقش اسلام سیاسی در مساجد در آلمان. در ضمن فتوای احمقانه در رابطه با سرعت دست انداز خواهد بود. فکر کردم این یه چیز مثبتیه برای نجات جان انسان‌ها. و لحظه زیبای زندگی در مورد زنان فلسطین و اسرائیل و تظاهراتشون و مارسشون در دفاع از امید و برای صلح. حتما با ما باشید، جایی نرید. فورم اقتصاد جهانی هر سال گزارشی منتشر میکنه در رابطه با تبعیض و نابرابری بین زن و مرد در زمینه‌های متفاوت من جمله بهداشت، آموزش، سیاست و اقتصاد. و خب فکر نکنم که بینندگان عزیز شوکه بشن که بدونن که ایران در لیست آخر این گزارشه، یعنی 10 کشور آخر که بیشترین نابرابری رو بین مرد و زن داره ایران، عربستان سعودی است، سوریه است و غیره. و خب مشخصه که این کشورهایی هستن که کشورهایی که آخر لیست هستن در خاورمیانه، در آفریقای شمالی هن و کشورهایی که اسلام نقش درشون بازی میکنه، چه توی دولت و چه به عنوان یک جنبش اسلام سیاسی. و خب خیلی مشخصه، چیزی که بارها گفتیم، وقتی که مذهب نقش بازی میکنه توی دولت، توی آموزش پرورش، توی بهداشت، توی هر زمینه‌ای میبینیم که نابرابری بین زن و مرد شدت پیدا میکنه و بیش از حده و غیر قابل قبوله. و خب میبینیم که این یک وضعیتی که باید محکوم بشه، ولی جایی هست مثل چتم هاوس در انگلیس که جایزه داده به جان کری و ظریف به خاطر قرارداد اتمی. و خب مشخصه که جایزه نباید داد به مقامات جمهوری اسلامی. این افراد باید محکوم بشن، باید اتفاقا زندانی بشن، بازداشت بشن، دادگاهی بشن به خاطر جرمایی که علیه مردم ایران انجام دادن. ولی چتم هاوس میاد بهشون به جاش جایزه میده. و خب چتم هاوس به عنوان یه think tank شناخته شده، یعنی یک خانه فکر، ولی خیلی مشخصه که زیاد فکر نکردن در رابطه به موضوع. فقط چیزی که براشون مهمه مسلمه پوله و اینکه چجوری میتونن پول در بیارن روی واقعا اذیت و آزار مردم ایران. و خب در ادامه این موضوع میبینیم این هفته هنوز تعداد کودکان زیادی هستن که توی کله سردرگمن. دولت فرانسه خونه های بالاخره چادراشون اینا رو داره از بین میبره، میسوزونه. کمک خیلی کمی برای این کودکان مونده، ولی هنوز بیش از 1000 تا از این کودکان توی کله میمونن. دولت انگلیس حاضر نیست تعداد زیادی از این جوونا رو بیاره به انگلیس و یک بحث جنگ سیاسی هست بین دولت فرانسه و دولت انگلیس و این وسط این کودکان پناهنده قربانی این دعواها هستن. مشخصه که این افراد حق پناهندگی دارن، از کشورهای مختلفی میان این جوونا، من جمله از ایران، از سودان، از سوریه، از افغانستان، عراق و غیره. و حتما فوراً باید وضعشون روشن بشه. یه خبر دیگه ای هست که نمیدونم اگر بینندگان شنیده باشن، ولی تعدادی از پناهندگانی که از سوریه وارد آلمان شدن ابراز نگرانی کردن، به خاطر اینکه گفتن که مساجدی که توی آلمان هستش اسلامی ترن و محافظه کارترن تا مساجدی که توی سوریه بود. و میگن که مثلا یک مرد جوان میاد صحبت میکنه که مولایی که توی این مسجده بهش گفته که باید ریش بذاره و بدون ریش نباید بره، و میگه که کسایی که باهاشون اونجا دارن مسجد رو میگردونن عین اسلامیونی هستن که این افراد ازشون فرار کردن. یعنی خیلی جالبه، نشون میده که جنبش اسلام سیاسی چه جنبش بین المللیه و در ضمن اعتراض علیهش از سوریه، از ایران و تو خود آلمان از سوی پناهندگانی که وارد آلمان شدن داره اعلام میشه. با ما باشید برای بخش بعدی برنامه ما. چندی پیش مصاحبه داشتم با ثریا شمالی که یک فعال حقوق زنه در مورد نقش سکسیسم در فیسبوک، توییتر و مطبوعات اجتماعی. با ما باشید. با ما باشید تا ببینیم ثریا در این رابطه چی میگه.
To ask you first off about the work you've been doing on harassment and hate against women on social media and Facebook in particular.
Okay, well, I started writing in 2011 about gender and politics, something I'd done a long time ago, and this time when I came back to it, it was fully immersive in social media. And what almost immediately began to happen was people registered their objections, but very often with gendered slurs, threats of rape or death, very violent imagery. And the more I spoke to women who were doing this kind of work, the more common I came to realize this was. And so I wrote about it, and when I wrote about it, women from all over the world contacted me, and basically they were contacting to say, can you help me? Can you help me get in touch with this company or that company? Can you write about my particular case? In one instance, for example, there was a woman who had been sexually assaulted, and the rapist was illustrating the rape in drawings that he was doing in Facebook. To a Facebook moderator, there was nothing in particular threatening or violent about the drawings, one at a time. But to the person that was depicted in them, it was a reenactment of this rape. In another instance, a woman who had set up a feminist page was deluged up to 500 messages a day with threats and graphic images of violence. Her home address was shared, her child's image was put on a rape meme. And in these instances, the company's response was not particularly helpful. And it sort of came down to the ways that rules and regulations were being written for speech and their interpretation. Because I think a lot of people believe that social media platforms are like public spaces and they're unregulated and they're really committed to free speech. But in point of fact, companies like Facebook and Twitter and YouTube are regulating content 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, which means that human beings, and it's overwhelmingly human beings, are writing the rules, interpreting the rules, and enforcing the rules. And we don't really think of that as censorship because these aren't governments, but they kind of function as transnational proto-governments that are regulating the speech of millions of people. And so over the years, I've gathered a lot of examples and became an activist in this area, really as a necessity almost. So in 2013, Laura Bates of Everyday Sexism, Jacqueline Friedman, who was then the director of Women Action in the Media, and I came together and ran a global campaign that was called the Facebook rape campaign. And essentially, after having talked to Facebook for 8 or 9 months about some of these issues, nothing had really happened. We created a sort of flip the switch campaign that enabled people to automatically send letters to advertisers, also tweet advertisers, showing them examples of what we were talking about that had been sent to us or that were present. And these were almost all focused on depictions of violence against women that were being ignored or treated as jokes. So even though, for example, Facebook had rules against graphic depictions of violence, there were pictures of women that were bleeding, being beaten, being raped, but because they could be categorized as humor, they were acceptable. And so we bypassed Facebook and we basically said, advertiser, here's the image, here's your ad. Do you, brand name company, really want to be sponsoring this violence against women? And so that caught Facebook's attention. I think that it moved several $1 million very quickly. And since then, actually, we've had a very good working relationship. It can sometimes still be adversarial, and there's a constant production of content and imagery that causes problems. But at least they're in conversation and they're invested in understanding what the chilling effects of these types of images are. Other companies, maybe not quite as much in my experience, but still I think that the ways in which these rules are written mirror mainstream norms about gender and speech. So one thing in particular that kind of illustrates this, as you and I have discussed, is representations of women's nudity.
Women, tell us a bit about that.
Sure.
Because it seems that women's bodies are censored and lots of other types of violence, including violence against women, isn't
Yes. So I think this is really interesting and very complex, but we're surrounded at all times by sexually objectifying imagery of women. If you walk around Washington, D.C. or London or New York City, there are posters and buses and signs and magazines where you can see women's scantily clad bodies, and we use it to sell everything and anything. So when you go online, obviously there's the whole world of pornography, which we'll set aside for the time being. And pornography, for example, is not allowable, technically speaking, on a platform like Facebook, which bars pornography, but Facebook conflates women's toplessness, all of it, with obscenity, which is highly problematic. So when women, for example, in Nigeria are protesting exploitation and they're topless, you don't see that picture. You don't understand why it is they would choose to do that. When women in Colombia are protesting outside a cathedral and they take off their tops because they are actually making a political point, you don't see that. And I think that's meaningful. I think that suppression of women's ability to physically embody their message, because so much of the harm that women experience is physical, I think we're suppressing their freedom of expression. And corporations like these have a lot of money, and they're spending a lot of money already on this moderation function, this content regulation function. But as the product is built right now, it's virtually impossible, and this isn't just Facebook, most of them, it's virtually impossible to capture context. So for any reported bit of content, whether it's a comment or a picture, usually it gets reported as that one thing, and then it goes to a moderator. But if a woman is getting 50 messages, or she's politically protesting, or any of that content gets reported, the people reviewing it don't see the context. They see a picture of a topless woman and they're like, well, that's against the rules. Whereas what should be happening is someone should look at it and say, all right, that's a picture of a topless woman. Why? Is she doing that because it's sexually titillating and we don't want that on our website, which is a whole other issue, right? Because there's so much on the website that is sexually titillating, in which you might not see a nipple, but you'll see, also perfectly legal, an upskirt photograph, right? But no one's looking and saying women have political speech, women have the right to express themselves artistically, to confront patriarchy, and that should be allowable. And I think that's really problematic.
And you also talk about rituals and how they affect speech as well as women's rights?
You mean more deeply embedded, like religious ritualized silencing?
Yes,
Yes, I think so. I think that, you know, we're all socialized, regardless of where we are in the world, as girls, to be more polite, to be more quiet, not to use disruptive speech, not to curse as much, not to joke as much. And so what happens is the kind of disruptive speech that is valued becomes a marker of masculinity. So boys are given a lot more leeway to joke, to be disruptive, to use obscene language than girls are. And that kind of goes hand in hand with religion in my mind, because all mainstream religions, with the exception of minor parts of them, ritually silence girls and women. Girls and women cannot, for example, become priests in the Catholic Church, right? There are very, very few women rabbis. You cannot be a woman imam in most places, right? And so what happens when girls and boys walk into those spaces? What lessons do they learn about the value of their speech, about the value of their ideas, about their ability to have public respect? And I think it's really damaging, because what girls learn is that they're expected to be silent, and that what they have to say is not worthy of public respect, and that what boys have to say is. And that starts when we're really born. I mean, for people, you know, I grew up in a religious household, and we went to church every weekend, and that was a message that I got. And I didn't really realize that that was the problem until, you know, I was probably 10 or 11. And I said, well, I'm going to be a priest. I really want to be a priest. And my father's response actually was to burst out laughing, because it really seemed absurd to him that I could even contemplate this. And my mother's response was, why don't you go talk to the priest about that? And so I did. And his response led me to basically say, you mean because I just don't have a penis, I can't be a priest? You know, that was really, everything he was saying led me to this conclusion. And as a sister with brothers, I just thought, well, that's really ridiculous.
How do you deal with, how should people be dealing with this sort of silencing, whether it's the ritual silencing that you mentioned, or also the silencing that's being done via Facebook, Twitter, social media?
So, well, my personal response to the religious silencing is to confront it, right? I mean, I am a secular atheist. I would not bring my children up in traditions that taught them those lessons. And so if they seek spirituality, I've always urged them to seek it in a way that doesn't denigrate them. And I think that's a lesson that you can impart, right? It's not worth it to me to teach my children those lessons. The work, though, that has to be done in these large-scale socio-technical systems is profound, because you can have sexism without a sexist, you can have racism without a racist. It's so deeply embedded into not just the rules and their execution, but into the way the systems themselves are built. So, you know, for example, we know that women experience more sustained, more sexualized violence online. That's just, that we have lots of research that tells us that. Very often it's associated with other forms of offline violence, like stalking or intimate partner violence. It's usually perpetrated by someone they know, a spouse, a neighbor, a classmate. That's very different from what men experience. Men experience a lot more stranger abuse and a lot more sort of single incidents of name calling or shaming. So if you think about that, and then you think of the way these systems are built. So if you, for example, are in Facebook and someone is threatening you and they're peppering your whole Facebook page with abusive content, you have to report each and every one of those separately, which is frankly calibrated to the way men experience harassment. An incident, right? But for a woman who's being barraged or is being harassed over weeks and months, there's no way to say, listen, it's not just the comment, it's the intensity of this experience, it's the fact that I can't go anywhere because it's happening cross-platform, right? That's a very different thing. What would it mean to have products that were built that centered women and their experiences in the building of the product itself? What if a product had been built that actually allowed you to report context or report the multiple things all at once. But that's not the way these were built. And I think that that's because they're deeply tied to male experiences.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for having me.
امیدوارم از مصاحبه با ثریا شمالی خوشتون اومده باشه. به نظرم مسائل مهمی رو مطرح میکنه. یکیش در رابطه با نهادینه بودن تبعیض علیه زنان در خود مطبوعات اجتماعی و خب مشخصه که این جای تعجب نیست، به خاطر اینکه سیستمی که ما توش زندگی میکنیم تبعیض داره علیه زنان، نهادینه است، چه از سیستم اقتصادی و چه سیاسی و خب مشخصه که این نقش خودش رو در مطبوعات اجتماعی هم بازی میکنه و دیده میشه. به نظرم این در ضمن بحث ثریا در مورد این نوع فشار برای ساکت کردن دختران در خانواده و از سوی مذهب و فرهنگ یک مسئله مهم دیگه بود که مطرح کرد و چطوری این همش ربط داره به تبعیض علیه دختران و زنان و چگونه میشه با این نوع سرکوب و تبعیض در سطوح مختلف باش مبارزه کرد، من جمله در سطوح خانوادگی و خب مشخصا در سطوح خیلی وسیع‌تر اجتماعی، اقتصادی، سیاسی و غیره. با ما باشید. شورای علمای اندونزی اخیراً یه فتوایی منتشر کردن علیه سرعت دست اندازایی که تو خیابون هستن و خب ماهایی که یک کتاب رو بر نداشتیم 1000 بار بخونیم و فقط همون یک کتاب رو بخونیم، ندونیم دنیا چیه و چجوری میگرده، فکر کردیم که بر مبنای علم و غیره که این سرعت دست اندازا جلوی تصادف‌های خیلی زیادی رو دارن میگیرن، جون خیلی رو دارن نجات میدن، به خاطر اینکه باعث میشه که ترافیک سرعتش کمتر بشه و شدتی که امکان داره یک کسی صدمه ببینه کمتر میشه. ولی خب نه، اگر شما جزو علمای اندونزی باشین، اینا گفتن که در دوره محمد اگر یک سنگی یا یک چوبی تو خیابون بودش بایستی اینا رو بر می داشتن. محمد گفته که اینا نباید تو خیابون باشن و خب سرعت دست اندازم عین همونه، هیچ فرقی نمیکنه و نباید وجود داشته باشن. واقعا آدم میفهمه که چرا، واقعا باعث تعجب نیست که پس مشخصه که سرعت دست انداز نباید وجود داشته باشه، به خاطر اینکه یه موقعی وقتی محمد حضرت اسلام روی شترش داشت یه جایی میرفت، یه سنگی دید و به همکارانش گفت این سنگ رو از جلوی پای من بردارید، الان به خاطر اون نباید سرعت دست انداز که جون آدم ها رو نجات میده وجود داشته باشه. آخه الان شما به راحتی میتونین ببینین که چرا ما به این چیزا میگیم فتوای احمقانه احمقانه احمقانه.
Coming here to make a peace with all the neighbors here, Jordan, Palestine, Israel, to live together in peace.
لحظه زیبای زندگی این هفته از زنان فلسطین و اسرائیل که با هم هزارانشون با هم راهپیمایی کردن، اعتراض کردن، تظاهرات کردن برای امید و صلح. و واقعا وقتی این صف واقعا بی انتهای زنان آدم میبینه که با هم دست در دست هم برای آینده جوانای خودشون، بچهای خودشون، برای آینده جامعهشون دارن اینطوری دست به دست هم گرفتن برای امید و صلح، واقعا امیدوار کننده است. یک مبارزه است، یک جنبشی که بدون قید و شرط همه ما باید ازش دفاع کنیم. به هر حال رسیدیم به انتهای برنامه‌مون. امیدوارم از برنامه این هفته خوشتون اومده باشه و تا هفته آینده به امید دیدار. Hi, I'm Meriem Namazi.
And I'm ثریا.
We're hosting a program called Bread and Roses. It's a weekly program that's broadcast in Persian and English in the Middle East and North Africa, primarily Iran as well. And it's also shown on YouTube internationally.
And we've been doing this since last May. We're coming up to our year's anniversary, and we've had quite a lot of fun making these videos. We discuss taboo-breaking, free-thinking ideas. The Islamic regime of Iran has called us immoral and corrupt. And that's why you need to support us. We are the alternative voice in Middle East and North Africa.
Of corruption and immorality. So do support us. Here's a short video from Patreon that explains how you can help us with even just $1 a week. That's nothing. Support us.
Patreon lets fans become patrons of their favorite artists and content creators. It's different than Kickstarter because it's not about one big project that requires lots of funding. It's more for bloggers or YouTubers or webcomics, anyone who creates on a regular basis. Here's how it works. When you become a patron, you're agreeing to give an artist a tip of an amount you set every time they release a piece of content, whether it's a new song, a video, or a recipe. You can set a monthly maximum to make sure that you're always within your budget. Choose an amount, enter your payment information, and you're done. Becoming a patron allows you to view and post in the artist's stream, and in exchange for your support, artists offer additional patron packages, which might include monthly Google Hangouts, music production tutorials, pre-sale concert tickets, or anything they can offer as a way to say thanks. Patreon, empowering a new generation of content creators.